for the first time in a very long time, I get to talk about January football, but for the first time ever, Sophie and I get to talk about Pat's January football. It's wonderful, really. You know,
January football.
but just the fact, because like the last time they did it was like 4 years ago. But I will say this with this team because I had been waiting and waiting and waiting because I know the last time you were, well, it was the three of us on tonight, it's just you and I. But the last time we were on, I gave Vidarian as low as flowers. And there's someone that I think some Patriots fans are starting to come around to with it, and it's someone I've always been a fan of. That's number 38. It's Ramondre. Like, look, I'm gonna like between just the game he had on Sunday, between the simple the blitz pickup with on the one play where I was just like, okay, Joe, you say it casually. He's the kind of player that's really showing that, like, hey, I think a lot of teams, if there's not the player's coach approach, would have probably let him go. But he's kind of textbook proof of, hey, you keep him and you see the worth. And when you get the worth, it just makes it all that much better.
Yeah. Well, with Ramondre, I think what's been so important there is the trust from the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Like, I think that the biggest thing is, like, a lot of people gave up on him. They were done. They didn't see him having a future with New England. And then all of a sudden, he emerges as this player. And it's like, Josh McDaniels raved about him. I asked him about him today. And like everything he said was just, you could tell how much he means to the team and how much Josh is enjoying working with him. And I think that's what says it is. It's like, okay, fans might have given up on Ramondre Stevenson, but no one in that building ever did. And that's all. And that's the reason why he's doing what he's doing now.
Yeah, like, you know what? And the fact, too, because I remember going into the fantasy football season, there were so many people that were waiting to ride high on TreVeyon Henderson, and, like, deservedly so. He's shown what he can do when you give him space. But this is, and I don't want to compare it to Detroit just because obviously Detroit missed the playoffs, but the two-headed monster they have is special. And I don't want to go on that yet because the two of them complement each other. But if New England can get half of what they've got in Detroit, you just couple that with everything else. And this is a team that, and look, we'll get into the whole stuff about, like, the schedule, this, that. This is a team that's set up for success, and that just is are they overachieving slightly? Yes. But is this a team that's set up for success and also has the cash flow to help them get set up for success over the next few years? Also, yes.
Yeah, what concerned me a little bit, I think, is like a lot of people were comparing this year's Patriots to like the Commanders last season. And the only thing that I will say is, yes, I think like there are definitely parallels to be drawn, similarities to be drawn in terms of like this really successful season, bringing in these strong free agents. The only thing I will say is now the Patriots have the ability and the money,
yes,
to continue that. And I think that's the biggest difference here is that they didn't pull a Drake Maye, let's blow all this cash, in the first year. This was we spent some of it, don't get me wrong, like we definitely, but a lot of the deals they signed were team friendly deals. The biggest one, of course, is Milton Williams, who looks like he's been worth a big paycheck so far. So it's just like Diggs, great signing considering you weren't sure what this guy was going to be back from an ACL. You have Morgan Moses, who people were concerned about his age, and he has played. He does not look like his age is any factor, and he's been really good on the right side. There's just a lot of these different factors, and you have some strong rookies. So you're kind of building for success, and now it's just bringing in pieces. Like I'd expect either a big name wide receiver or another big name tight end to come in next season. That's where some money is going to be spent, but you don't want to blow it all immediately. And, Rabel knew that. He knew what he was doing, and that's what helps.
Yeah, that's the big thing too. It just helps knowing, like, look, hey, this year, like I said too, you can say what you want about the schedule. I don't like people discrediting the Buccaneer loss because at the time that was a huge deal, and also the game too, where I was like, hey, they can hang with anybody. Like, and I know, like, because I know since we last spoke, it really much is. That's why, and we'll talk about all the games this week, but that's why I want to win Sunday night, because you quiet that crowd. Because you know what? It's, hey, and I'll say this, I think there's 3 teams in the playoffs there's not significant pressure to win. One is Chicago, just because Chicago's in a similar boat. Like, hey, like overall. Like people are going to say it because, and I also say this too, that Chicago's one of those teams that the league, they don't root for teams, but they know the league is a better place. Like when a team like the Bears is successful. It's like the same, like, how you have like your marquee franchises. Carolina, because, it's Carolina, it's Carolina. And then I think New England's the third. And people are obviously, look, if they do lose Sunday night, everyone's going to say, oh, look, you see, the frauds are this, they're that. That's the thing. This team is not going to go away quietly, and they have the capital to spend. And I know the last time we were on here, I had floated CD Lamb, just, hey, trade for him. But I found a better prospect, a better draft person to trade for. Because there's a team out there right now who just fired their coach and GM, who doesn't have a first-round pick, who need to pay their superstar running back a lot of money. Why not take advantage of the Atlanta Falcons and say, hey, we'll give you our 20-something, maybe more, maybe a little bit more, maybe I'll grease the pot just a little bit, and see what the price for Drake London would be.
I agree. The other one is Alec Pierce is going to be a free agent next year.
Oh, believe me, McGarvin and I are all over that one.
That is the only one that I think if you could potentially make a splash, not necessarily having to give up anything on the back end. You can bring him in. You have Drake Maye too. This is the thing now is like when they were signing players this year, the biggest draw was Mike Vrabel. Like, yes, it was that playing with Drake Maye, very exciting, all that, but he was going on his fourth coordinator in 4 years. Like, was he going to be able to continue that, all that? And like, obviously Drake has shown that and beyond this season. Like, he has proved his worth. So now you not only have this guy who's probably going to win Coach of the Year for the way he's turned the Patriots around. Yep. You're looking at a quarterback who should win MVP 110%, in my opinion. Yep. Not even just being biased, just looking at every, factor. He should get it over Stafford, but it's a different discussion. And those are two guys right there. Then you have a team around him that's starting to come together too. I mean, you have Kyle Williams is fun to watch. Travion Henderson. Oh my God. Like, it shows the future so bright in New England, and that's a draw now. So in this offseason where you were maybe getting guys who, yes, you got Milton Williams, but Milton was going to go where he was paid. Milton wasn't as concerned. There are some guys who won't go to a team if they don't think they're a contender. They're not going to sign with Milton was going to Carolina or here, which again, both turned out to be contenders, but not everyone knew that. So there's a huge draw to New England. I mean, you're looking at, I'm not going to compare it to the Brady era because there's no such thing as comparing it to the Brady era, but it's a team that people are going to want to play on and play with and be a part of. And that's huge.
So Sunday at 1:15 p.m., I texted McGarvin, how good would Alec Pierce look in New England next year? And he just said to me, he's going to get a boatload of cash. And I was just like, something we have to give. Because here's the thing, too, that not a lot of people realize. New England has an owner that, look, even throughout the lean years, the last 5, like, I know I say lean, and a lot of people are going to go, oh, lean, you don't know lean. Like, look, yeah, the last 5 years weren't the best. But Kraft always said that he wanted to get back to being a good team. He wants to spend to be a good team. They're building the new facility, which I believe is going to be like training, like basically like a borderline practice facility, if I'm not mistaken. You know better than I do, just because obviously you're there every day, 5-6 days a week. And I've been there twice in my life. But the fact that Kraft looks at stuff like the player survey, he looks at like the situation that they're in. Like even last year, I know everyone says, oh, like Gerard didn't get a fair shake. No, Kraft realized, hey, I kept my word. It didn't work. We moved past it. And guess what? We all knew he wanted Mike Vrabel. Mike wanted to come here. And now you just kind of like, it's basically just drilled for oil, and you landed the best spot. You picked a great spot to drill. So now it's just about, like, even if when you look at it too, last offseason was more about filling holes. There still is some holes to fill, believe me, I think. And very thankful that this is a deep edge class and there's some good linebacking prospects this year, because that's what the Patriots need to draft. But in free agency, Sophie Headbang and Weller here. But here's the thing, though, with free agency, they can spend for wants instead of spending for needs. Like, I don't think they have to go out there and spend, a crazy amount of money for a an edge free agency, or even like someone else. You can go out there and draft it. Would Max Crosby be nice? Yes, but do I think they'd be willing? Here's the thing too. For as much as I would love for them to mortgage their future, I don't think they're ready to do that yet. I'd rather wait. If they get to Championship Sunday, which look, I will be hoping to get there. I hope they get to Santa Clara for, my sake as a fan, your sake as a reporter, because that'd be awesome for you to go cover. But for right now, it's that 1 week at a time mentality, one game at a time. Just people have already asked me saying, oh, New England could be there. And I'm just like, yep, just, what, get past the Chargers and see what there is next week. But for right now, though, like losing in the moment, and I'll compare this to what I experienced with I know I bring up the baseball run I had a lot. Well, it's the same mindset where it's, hey, you win a round, you won the division check, win a few rounds, it'd be nice and fun. At the end of the day, though, if you win, great. If not, I know they're set up for success, and I know that even if they come up short this year, they're going to do what it takes to get better for the future. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, they're going to fall back to obscurity. The schedule's harder next year. I'd almost rather have them face a harder schedule next year so that if they do in the same position, because let's be honest, there's a very good chance that it's a two-headed monster race, maybe three, because, Miami decided to fire their coach today, which, well, yeah. But if there's a two-headed monster race in the AFC East for the division next year, that's going to help them get better, playing a much better NFC North. Playing an AFC West where now you have three teams who are legit killers. Well, I know one had a bad year, but look, and I know he tore his ACL, but I'm not going to rule 15 out. I just can't do it. People done it in the past, and they got burned. So, they have this experience where even now, hey, they have to play Seattle. They're going to have to play Jacksonville in Jacksonville. Pittsburgh will always still find a way. So for New England, they're playing with house money, and I just hope for all of our sakes that they give us something in there, even though I know like the fan in you, or even someone like as big as a fan as your dad, is going to enjoy every second of this run, no matter how short or long it is.
That's the thing. And I want to go back to something you were saying before about actually Kraft, because I wrote a column on this week, and I really want to harp on this because it's all the firings have really, to me, put a lot in perspective. And that's that Patriots fans should be very, very thankful that the owner of this team is Robert Kraft. And I'm going to tell you why. That is because there are a lot of owners out there that if they had handpicked a successor for their 6-time Super Bowl winning head coach, who they parted ways with when in actuality it was a firing, but they parted ways with, they would have gave him a lot more than 1 year, even given how bad of a year it was.
Yep.
A lot. I mean, I can think of 10 owners off the top of my head who would never have made that call. Kraft saw this isn't working out. It's not going to look good for us that this is the guy we picked, but we got to cut ties now.
Yep.
And I think that shows so much about the guy he is, because there was no pride involved in that. The pride would have been sticking with the guy that you had picked.
Yeah.
That's what pride would have been. This was, you're clearly not ready for this. And I don't want to sit and have another 4-win season next year. So we got to cut ties now.
Because here's the other thing too with all this. And that's why I say, even if they don't win this year, that's why next year's a huge year. You got a year where you can spend all your money, because guess what you're going to have to do in a year from now? Someone's going to knock on their door and say, look, William Sonoma's not fully paying for our kitchen, so I need a big contract, and he's going to be worth every penny of that contract. So that's why for teams like Chicago, like teams like for New England, you got to find out where you can be successful, spend your money now, because even Houston's going to be going through this in a couple months where is he going to probably get it? I don't know if CJ Stroud's going to get that money yet, just because, we've seen the flashes, but we've also seen kind of like the ups and downs from him.
Yes.
But we know with Drake Maye, he's going to walk in there and they're going to take care of him. I don't think this is going to be like what happened with Brady and Belichick, where, hey, take the discounts to win, because we've seen
if they let him go, it's that Drake Maye is a Patriot for life. Clearly he wants to be. I think he would like to be with one team. It's very clear that he has so much loyalty, and this team should be doing everything they can to keep him no matter what.
Like I know there's the jokes, and we talk about, and I reference his wife a lot. I know I reference Ann Michael. I just can't call her Ann. It's Aunt Michael. But the simple fact that the celebrity status she's gained, and I know we all like to talk about and Bakemas is a huge thing and like everything with that, but look at how something simple as just, hey, these are some desserts I like to bake, and it got you hundreds of thousands of followers. And, hey, Giselle never did that for us. I don't think they would let him walk. I'm just saying that he's going, like you say, I think that's the other thing too with Robert Kraft. He's an owner who's going to take care of his players. Mm-hmm. Like how I referenced the new practice facility coming in. He realized, hey, winning only gets you so far. You got to build up the relationship with the practice facility, how you treat the players, how you treat travel, how you treat just every single aspect of the organization. And that's what builds winning organizations, when you have owners who know that, hey, that it's not just a tax write-off, that it's something that you seriously invest your time in and you take care of. Meanwhile, you have owners like teams like the Giants and the Browns who are in just terrible, but they decided, hey, we're going to bring the same GM back who's made bad decisions over the last few years and use the coach as a scapegoat. Here, look, you say we want about Elliot Wolf, but Elliot Wolf's built a pretty good football team, and Mike Vrabel's the guy to lead the ship. And I'm not here to say they're going to be the next dynasty, but they give us a competitive football team that's in it every January, or in the same situation as, your boyfriend's facing with Baltimore, like years and years down the road, where, hey, every year Baltimore's competitive. I think most Patriot fans are going to take that.
I mean, anything's a win after the 2 seasons that New England's had the last 2 years. So I think that's it. The only thing I will say is I think that going into this playoff run, a lot of fans are kind of seeing it as like Super Bowl or bust. I mean, I've seen it everywhere. Like, let's go, like, cynical, all that. And I just think, like, maybe temper expectations. Do I think they can make it? Yes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like this team is going to be knocked out, but you can't look at it. The fear is that everyone's going to view this as such a negative season. If they get knocked out on Sunday, if they make it past the Sunday, get knocked out the next week, but no, it should not be viewed that way, because no one had this team going to the playoffs. So playing a game the second week of January,
they're 2 wins away from doubling their win total over the last 2 years. So that's why I trying to figure out what you're doing. Sorry.
I was drinking water.
I know the water bottle. I got one for her. My wife got one for her birthday. Yep. But no, like, that's the thing with this year. That's why I say the whole, like, Jay's comparison, where it's like the year before 24 finished last place. This year, look, I'm not going to go into depth and details, but they were very close to winning a championship, to where this year they get to a conference championship game. They get to the divisional round, something they have not, fun fact, divisional round. They have not lost a divisional round playoff game since 2010. I was in the 12th grade, and Sophie, I don't know, but based off what
I was 9 years old.
Okay, so now I know. 2011. She was 9. I was
2011. I would have been 10. No, I'm a 2001 baby.
Okay, you're 2001. I'm 1993. So that's where the parallels lie. Like, I was born, and then a month later, Kraft took over the team. Coincidence? I don't think so.
It was but anyway, all you manifested it. It was actually your birth that started the dynasty.
Yes. Not him buying the parking lot and then buying eventually the land and all the other stuff. No. It was me coming into this world. Thanks, Mom and Dad. But no, with this team though, like, no one should, like I say, in the moment when they lose, no matter when it's going to be, it's crushing. You don't want to see your team lose in the playoffs, no matter what the sport is, no matter how good or bad it is. You just don't want to see your team lose. It's just, that's a fact of the reality. That's why, look, God bless Jets fans. But with the Patriots though, this year, you win this game, you get a notch in your belt, you get that national level of respect.
Yes.
You win next week, it's going to turn into, that's where, like, next year when everyone's saying, oh, the pressure's on New England. I would rather have that for next year. You know what? Hey, have it be the pressure's on New England, because guess what? There's a team in our division that finished in second place that's got a whole ton more pressure on them to win this year than us. Just think about it. How everyone's saying, hey, it's the easiest run. You don't have to deal with Burrow. You don't have to deal with Lamar. You don't have to deal with Patrick Mahomes. I don't know how much of a Disney person you are, because, like, I know obviously Disney. None?
What are we talking?
One of my favorite Pixar my favorite Pixar series, which has always been Monsters Inc. since I was a little kid. Do you remember the sequel that came out about Monsters University?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the one? There's always the one line that sticks out to me, because obviously as a Leafs fan, I'm involved with the meme. But it was, the big fraternity saying basically, hey, when you lose, no one's going to remember you.
Yeah.
And then it's, hey, but when you lose, no one's going to let you forget it. That's kind of the Patriots and Bills parallel this year, where if the Patriots lose, yeah, we're all gonna move on. Say, hey, you know what? It was a great season. Sucks we lost there. Buffalo loses. That window's closed, but that window is like close to getting shut to where there's so many soul searching questions.
Yes.
Meanwhile, for New England, it's just, hey, take this, learn from this, and get better.
Yeah.
So the other thing with next year too, that's actually a lot of fun and interesting as I pull it up is, and you're going to hate this, but the fact that they're going to be involved in a lot more games that play, past I would assume is yours, mine, respected bedtimes, as adults working now. I'll be honest with you, I got home from, I worked, went to the gym, got home, and by like 6, I've been in my pajama bottoms. I'm not ashamed to admit that. But next year, when I look ahead at the schedule, there's some games I look at right now, and I'm like, oh, that's 8:15. That's 8:15.
A lot of prime time.
There's also 2 holidays. One that I know you blasted me for before, but
they're going to play on Thanksgiving against Detroit.
I have a better one for you. They're going to play on Christmas at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Which someone said this once, and I kind of agree with it. You know how that week for Christmas, they like decide the games that are like, how they always leave a handful of games and like, hey, we flex these ones here. I feel like for Christmas, the Netflix games, they should do that. They should wait for a few weeks beforehand.
I agree. Because, it's all the primetime later this season games weren't exactly great because the teams had either not been knocked out or, it was just. But I'm with you, Chris. I could see them playing on Thanksgiving and Christmas this year.
Yeah, like I look at Detroit, that could be there. And because we all know Detroit will be Thanksgiving, which if it is, that's a game I very might well be at because I live 3 hours from Ford Field. Like other ones, but like I say, I think they're gonna milk the Chiefs cow for Christmas Day because they know 15 Christmas, no matter how good or bad the Chiefs are. I just look at the game and I'm like, that's a late season game that they know they can get a lot of viewers for, especially with with what the Chiefs are versus, what the Patriots have been this year. That's a game I look right away and I'm like,
you're looking at Mahomes being back. I mean, if you're doing a Christmas game, Mahomes will likely be back by that point. You're looking at, oh wow,
there's a very good chance that's for seeding.
Drake Maye. I mean, it's gonna bring up memories of the Tom Mahomes, immediately, and that's what this league is going to bank on immediately. Yeah, I just reacted to that too. We both have the Fiesta Bowl on in the background, guys. If you see us being like, but it's they're gonna love to put the Chiefs versus the Patriots up against each other again and have that be a whole thing because that was, it was Manning Brady, then it became Mahomes Brady. Like there's always those quarterback matchups you want to have.
And you could try to sell this new rivalry because, too, for a lot of people out there, it's like that. There's the one meme of like the 2 gang members, like Bloods and Crips, so like the bandanas tied and everyone going in it being like, I'll hate watch for both teams because we all know people don't like the Chiefs and people are getting back to not liking the Patriots. But even too, I look at like the Chicago when they go to Chicago, that's probably going to be Sunday or Monday night. Denver at home, probably Sunday Night Football, considering how both teams did this year. Like that's a candidate for early season Sunday night, like week 2, 3, 4 Sunday Night Football. And looking at this, though, there's still probably going to be a handful of 1:00 games, but then they also have to go to Seattle, which probably a 4 earliest, at the Chargers 4 earliest. So a bit of travel this year, but that's just one little thing I wanted to, just do it there. The other thing I will say too, though, is just because there was one point you brought up back up, and that's about Drake Maye winning MVP. I really don't like the fact that you're starting to see a lot more people, and I just got introduced to him through Twitter, but Daniel Rothman's doing God's work out there campaigning for Drake Maye against guys like Michael Silver and Andrew Whitworth, which kudos to you, man. I know he's something with law. But if they really give Matt Stafford the MVP just because it's like, I 2 months ago, like not 2 months ago, but a month ago, I was always like, hey, it's Stafford's. For me, it's games like the Ravens game, and it's the word valuable. Because if you swap the 2 teams, the Rams are 1 seed and probably one of the best teams in football if you give Drake Maye, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, amongst other weapons. If you put Stafford on the Patriots, I still think they're a good team, but I don't think they're a 14-3 football team. So that's where I so I look at it. Where yeah, if Stafford wins, it's understandable, but at the same time too, I just look at it from where I'm like, you know what, Drake's the better player. Drake deserves it. But you know what? I would much rather see him 72 hours after that award show hosting a Super Bowl MVP and getting that same car that, Tom Brady gave to Malcolm Butler about 11 years ago.
Yeah, there's no way Drake will keep that if he gets that. That's going to like some player. There's no way that man is way too humble to keep a car. No, with every single thing you have just said, I could not agree more. Yeah. My whole thing is that I think a lot of quarterbacks, even some that aren't at the elite level that you're talking Stafford, May, whatever are at, could have a very, very successful season if you put Nakua. Well, if you have the roster that the Chargers have, or the Rams have, sorry. Chargers on the mind now, but I know I'm talking about Rams. Like, a lot of quarterbacks, even some that aren't at that elite level, could have the same success. If you put some of those quarterbacks on the Patriots the last 2 years, even this year, given Diggs and all that, but like still, this receiver room was not known. The name that was known was Stephon Diggs. Matt Collins, people are thinking he's coming in, not going to be great. Just, an older guy on the team. Oh, love it. But I think MVP should be looked at. Yes, stats matter. Trust me, they do. His stats should prove that he's up there. But what to me is more impressive is what he's done with less. And that is, again, valuable is the word there that I think people forget about in this. They just look at the stats. They're looking at, well, Stafford's done this and that. And it's like, yeah, but again, if you take half his roster off, what's going to happen? Whereas, you've seen this Patriots roster go through ups and downs with players being out with,
Yep. And
every week they seem to still find a way, and offensively, and a lot of that is Drake. So that is my whole thing, is that I think that when people are making these arguments, it's not being taken into account who they have around them to help lift them up. Not saying that the people Drake has around him are bad, but they're not the names that the Rams have. And that to me is more impressive.
Yeah, like the only sport I think you can look at where MVP is mainly based off numbers is baseball, because we've seen that where, except the NL MVP, you got to give it to that one guy. But no, I just don't like the argument to, he's got years to win it. I'm like, okay, what if someone else comes up next year and just completely does that? What if
the years to win it thing is like, if you're giving it to Stafford as a pity prize because he's later in his career, then that's not what the MVP is made for.
No, like if it was that, like people were wrong to say about Josh Allen winning MVP last year, because look, I don't have a vote from the Associated Press. I know you're an actual football reporter down in the States, but I don't. Do you have a vote with the AP?
No, I didn't. I have my own personal votes in my head that I'm very passionate about.
You and I are the same then. That's why no matter if there's two of us, no matter if there's three of us, that's why the squad's just so like-minded. But with the MVP last year, so many people were like, oh, but it's just voter fatigue for Lamar. I'm like, no. You take Josh off that Buffalo team last year, and they were terrible. Josh made that engine go. Josh was the reason they almost got to the Super Bowl, and I know everyone's going to go, oh, but they couldn't catch the ball. Josh still did all he could in that game against the Chiefs to get them there. Josh was super valuable last year to the team, and I do think people are going to see, hey, what the world is of, hey, taking Drake Maye off the Patriots does a lot more harm than taking Matt Stafford off the Rams. So I really hope that's what the voters see. I don't know the full list of voters. I know Tom did have a vote, but they took it away from him because obviously slight conflict of interest. But Sophie and I have our votes in our head that we'll be watching 4 weeks from tonight when the awards are. I have no idea what the awards are. I just like watching on TV. And you know what? Maybe when we get our Hall of Fame ballots, because that's honestly, I still think about that's probably one of my favorite things I do on the show is when we, right before camp, when we just go over the random players who are eligible for the Hall of Fame. Yeah. Even though I know two of them are locks already this year. I'm just waiting for the pity party to come in when Kraft and Belichick go in the same class. Just waiting for it.
Ugh, I want it to happen so bad. I think that'll be so fun.
Yeah, it's just because, Kraft deserves to get in. Belichick, you can't turn down from getting in. And it's just, adds to the levels of chaos for that one, too. And
Kraft maybe they're just being petty about it. Kraft, they're just being petty about at this point. Like, I don't understand that. I agree. He deserves to be in. Bill, you can't deny what he did, even if the ending wasn't great. He deserves to be in too. And I just think having them go in, maybe it'll force them to put this petty bull. McGarvin's not here. He's normally the swearer. I'm not. But the petty bull stuff, to the side and grow up. That's all I want, is that, like, they built something here that was so special that no other team has been able to build, to recreate, and the fan base should be able to celebrate that. And instead, they're having to watch these two destroy each other in the press. And I think Kraft has taken a step back, realized it. I mean, he did that interview with WBZ where he was like, I want to put a Belichick statue right next to my Tom statue. And I was like, thank you. Like, that is taking the right step forward. And then Bill bans Patriot scouts. So it just stop. Like, this back and forth needs to stop. And you need to, realize a lot of people don't have 6 Super Bowl rings to hold up. And we're able to do it with these 3 guys that were so important to the franchise.
Yeah, even if some of those games involve a certain someone sitting on the remote. Which that's a story about you I will never forget.
My grandmother does not let me live it down, where I shut off the game at the end of that Giants Super Bowl.
Somewhere little girl Sophie's just like, what did I do? And everyone's like, the remote, for the love of God. I
probably just cried.
You're like,
it's like, what did I do? Why is people yelling at me?
I'm 7. I don't know what they did. But no, just it's kind of a full circle moment if it happens, especially with the Patriots being the Super Bowl. If you can get them together to do that, even in Canton, come August, when that time comes, that first weekend in August, and then maybe the Patriots are one of the teams in the Hall of Fame game. I would get into more of the meat and potatoes of the coaching hirings, but obviously your mind's more focused on football. I'll save that for when, McGarvin does return. For those wondering, he is out with the flu this week, so we hope to have him back next week.
We tried to get him to do a flu game, guys. Didn't work.
Or how about this? I said I would propose a flu game, but I'm not an asshole. That's basically what I said to him.
No, apparently I am. Come on.
Yes. But we have 6 playoff games to predict. 2 Saturday, 3 Sunday, 1 Monday. We obviously got the Fiesta Bowl on right now, which is looking pretty exciting. And then the Peach Bowl tomorrow night. But Saturday, we started off Carolina Panthers taking on the Los Angeles Rams. There's a weird voice inside my head thinking that Carolina has a chance to keep this game close, but then there's also the voice that goes, LA's going to blow them out of the water. Just because when you look at the matchup here, there's no pressure on the Panthers. They're at home. They're hosting a playoff game. And then you look at the Rams where it's like I said earlier, that Monsters University meme. If the Rams lose, no one's going to remember. No one's going to let them forget it. But if the Panthers lose, Panthers weren't even supposed to be here. Tampa effectively peed down their leg down the stretch, injuries aside. And, it's the 1 game 2 in the window, though, where I do think for LA, it's the best possible window for them. Because think about it. You don't have to go, if we win, we play here. They have to go out there and play football. I do think the LA Rams win the game, but I do think this is a closer game because everyone's calling for a blowout. Everyone's calling for it.
I'm with you. I don't think it's going to necessarily – could it be like a 1 or 2 touchdown win at the end by the Rams? Yes, but I think it's going to be a total blowout. No, because I think this is play. Both teams are good teams, and I think people discount the Panthers thinking again, that they snuck it in because of Tampa. But I'm with you. I think that Carolina will put up a fight, but I don't think they have enough to overpower the Rams. I think the Rams take this one, no problem, but I don't think it's a blowout.
I completely agree. Even though you do have Cam Newton in the building, there is a guy on Twitter, though, that McGarvin and I have kind of bonded over, and I might send you one of the things later, but his name's Carolina Mike, and he has this random song where he uses it. He's a Panthers fan who lives in Minnesota, and he just basically sings this like random song, but he relates it. It's basically he's a Panthers fan. It's just it brings the vibes. It's like one of those like energy guys. Yeah, I'll send it to you after. But Saturday night's kind of the bell of the ball for the first round, in my opinion, where I'm going to be on. And also, too, for those wondering, this is the most expensive get-in ticket for the first round. Of $448 is the get-in price for Bears and Packers first round Saturday night. I thought this was going to be the Fox game, the Sunday at 4:30, but I'm glad this is getting its own spot. It's just its own spotlight. As former Patriot Joe Judge is on the screen as quarterbacks coach at Ole Miss. But with this game, though, I like the Bears just because I think the Packers are too banged up. I think and I also, we can get into the whole coaching situations, but I don't think like LaFleur's going to, I know there's the whole stuff with Harbaugh getting fired this week and people thinking, oh, Harbaugh is saving his time for jobs later on down the road. I still don't think there's a world where LaFleur gets fired for losing this game. I only think that happens if they get their doors blown off. I think we're getting a game like we've seen in the last two.
I agree. I think this is going to be a really close game. It's going to be good. My whole thing is that there are two teams I'm eyeing that could make a head coaching change based on the results in the first round, and the Packers are not on that list.
No.
I do not see the Packers making a head coaching change at all. The Bears have clearly got their guy, but I will say I am favoring the Bears more.
Because also, too, here's the thing. This matchup, it's the same time, it's the same circumstances that Bills-Patriots game from a few years ago, where the Bills just ran wild. They like to flaunt it. Because no matter who wins this game, they get to throw that party for themselves. But we all know that a loss here is more demoralizing for the Bears than it is for the Packers, because the Packers can kind of just take their bag. Hey, we're hurt. Our best player tore his ACL. Jordan Love's not really all himself. And then you got the Chicago Bears just looking to show that, hey, we belong. And like I say, too, for the NFL is a better place. Like the teams I want to reference with that one, by the way, is like the Bears, the Giants, the Dallas Cowboys, even teams of that elk where it's when they're competitive and good, it's better for the league because more eyes are going to be watching it. Like, hey, we all don't like the Dallas Cowboys, but you want to watch them fail.
That's for dang sure.
One of the other teams, too, and I know there's a couple teams who could lose where they make coaching changes, and one of them is playing Sunday afternoon potentially. I don't think it would happen, though. I think it would have to take a really, really bad loss for Buffalo for them to fire McDermott.
I agree, but that is one on my list.
Yeah, he's on my list because even if they lose close, I think it's just going to open up the eye. It should just open up the eyes more to, hey, we can't just rely, and this is their biggest kryptonite, is Josh playing hero ball. Because we've seen like how I referenced last year in the AFC Championship game, when Josh is asked to do when he's asked to do everything, that's where you take the silly sack like he did in the Eagles game. I know you weren't watching it because you were watching a blowout, but with that game, like when he's taking a sack like that, when he's trying to make the play happen, I still think Buffalo does get the win here because I can't just. And I know Jacksonville's a better team, but I can't bet against. I just can't take Josh again. I'd rather be wrong betting on Josh than being wrong betting against him. Does that make sense?
No, our brains are braining today.
Yes, they are.
Because I literally is the exact same thing. Is that being wrong by betting on Josh Allen is right rather than being like should have known better than to go against Josh.
Yeah.
And I think that Josh Allen's just a whole other animal. I mean, we're talking about an MVP fight, not necessarily this season, but just in general for like what you want in a quarterback, like long term. That is an MVP quarterback.
I hate
how I have
he is.
No, I have all the respect in the world for Josh Allen, for his play, his off the field persona, like all of it. I can't speak, I speak very highly of him because I think that he shows everything that a quarterback should embody. And I think the Patriots could have that in Drake. He's just very young. I'm not saying Drake's not that at all. We've only seen 2 years of Drake. We've seen a lot more of Josh Allen, and everything he showed has been positive. So that is an MVP quarterback right there. That is one that elevates his team around him, no matter the roster.
Yes.
The Bills roster isn't all that this year. They really don't have this incredible, roster that you look at they've had in the past with when Diggs was a wide receiver, and even when they had, the Hollins, Diggs, and then Cook, they have Cook, yes, they have Allen, but who else? Who are the big names? So
They're
that's the thing, though.
they're two DKs at tight end and Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid.
That-
But besides that,
That's true. I forgot tight end for a minute there. But no, that's a guy that elevates the team around him so much so. And I sound like a Bills fan right now. And I'm simply just a fan of the way Josh has conducted himself. And that's all I'm trying to, I guess, get across.
I think most Patriots, Bills, and Bills fans are at the same conclusion now, where it's like we like your quarterback. We just hate that we have to go up against him twice.
No, trust me. I mean, I'm looking at this matchup, and everyone's talking about Jaguars. I'm like, Josh Allen. Like, and at the same time too, if you're a Patriots fan, I think you actually kind of want the Bills to win this weekend.
I literally shot McGarvin a text about this, and he said that we want to be the ones to do the honors.
Not just that, but Jacksonville is probably outside of the Bills is the team that scares me the most in the AFC right now.
Yeah, because if we all know that if they win on Sunday and the Patriots win Sunday, guess who's coming to Foxborough next weekend?
Exactly. It's Jacksonville. Whereas if the Bills win, Bills go to Denver, and Patriots are hosting the winner of Texans
Steelers,
which I think is a favorable matchup regardless as opposed to Jacksonville.
Exactly. Yeah. But with this game though, I just look at it where Jacksonville, it's kind of the same thing as New England, where they're kind of like, I think there's a lot of self-imposed pressure because, like, hey, they got the big win against Denver, which with New England, you could say what you want about that game in December, right after the bye week. Most teams are going to get killed by Josh Allen when he's playing like that. I'm sorry. When he puts the Superman cape on and says, hey, Clark Kent's gone, most teams in the league will not beat him. Because we knew that game, if the Patriots could not keep up, Josh Allen was just going to march down the field and have his way with that defense. And that's what he did. And that's why I think that's why our brain's brain there. And that's why I think that they're going to be the ones to win on Sunday afternoon. San Francisco, Philadelphia. Look, Philadelphia's been a good team this year. San Francisco's been up and down, inconsistent with injury. But something in me is just saying San Francisco. I just think they're that, like, because this is for them, it shouldn't be the year. It shouldn't be the year. But I feel like they find a way.
It is.
Yeah, because with Philadelphia too, though, I think there's gonna be some more behind. There's gonna be some dirty laundry that gets aired out once they're done.
There's something going on with that team that none of us know about.
Nope. And then, do you have anything to say on this one? Who you think gets it, or?
Sorry to my Eagles family. But I think I'm with you on 49ers.
Believe it or not, if someone was with us, he is for the Eagles. So, Eagles fans, you have McGarvin.
You have the flu boy.
You have the sick boy. Before we get to Sunday Night Football, I want to ask you a question because obviously, look, you're the Taylor Swift fan here. For the Patriots and the Bills, what eras are those two teams in right now?
They're Cardi B and they're. Is that what we're talking about? And they're
like Taylor Swift, like Taylor Swift eras, like how it's like.
Oh, you mean like they're like legit? If I'm looking at Taylor Swift, got it. Pats, I think I'm gonna go with Fearless, simply because I think they are playing a little fearless right now. They came in, no one was expecting anything of them, and they've surpassed expectations, and they've already proved that they're a good team. So, the vibe. That's just the vibe. And then, for the Bills, I think I'm going to go reputation because I think that you're talking about Mahomes being out. You're talking about Lamar being out. You're talking, all these top quarterbacks are out of the playoffs this year. It should be Josh Allen's year. Reputation.
I'm just going to laugh because I know I have no idea what you're talking about. And I just know that's why I defer to Sophie on those ones. Look, Sunday Night Football, I don't have to go into details on who we think is going to win. I think I'm going to say it. So I do think New England wins. I just think there's a chance the Chargers cover that 3.5 number. I do think this is a 3-point field goal game. More than anything, though, offensively and defensively, who are two X factors for you in this matchup?
For the Patriots?
Yeah, one on offense, one on defense.
Offensively, Kyle Williams. I think Kyle Williams could have a huge impact on this game because I think that they're going to be more concerned with Diggs. They're going to be, that's who they're going to be looking at. Ramondre obviously has been huge, and they've been using him kind of as that slot receiver a little bit as much as they've been using him as a running back. So they're going to be more concerned with them. If you can get Kyle going, he has the speed to make something happen, and he makes very contested catches. That's my one on offense. Defensively, let's see.
I have one.
You go with yours, and I'll give me a second to think.
Marcus Jones.
Yeah. Well, you got to explain. I gave a whole explanation
I thought you were
for mine.
I thought you were gonna answer. I'm sorry.
I will. I'm thinking. You got to give me more.
All right. So I think Marcus Jones, because when you look at the matchup, he can go against tight end play. He can go against receiver play because we know what happened last year. And also, I know everyone's saying too, the Chargers last time they blew out the Patriots. Even though it's a different coach, Justin Herbert's had some of his worst games of his career against New England.
Yes.
Bill Belichick, in the 3 games Bill Belichick coaches Justin Herbert, I think are some of his worst games of his career. Mike Vrabel, I think, could take a similar approach and see what he did in those games. Because I remember that 45-0 game vividly in an empty SoFi Stadium. I remember the Adrian Phillips pick 6 in 2021. And I remember that disgusting rainy game in 2023. I think it was like 6-0 or 9-0, something like that. But when I look at a guy like Marcus Jones in this game, it's really the matter, too, of, you have a great kicker and, you have Dicker the kicker kicking off to where, hey, how do they play Marcus Jones? Defensively, like I said, he can match up anywhere. He's going to be that speedy guy. Another play that he might have to make is, I saw the Jason McCourty play from Super Bowl 53 resurface online a few days ago where he might have to make a moment like that because when you look at the corner play here, you look at Christian Gonzalez, who is a Pro Bowler, should be an All-Pro. Look, could be a decoy eventually, but right now there's a man who wears 95 in Cleveland who's just not human. Carlton Davis, I don't want to say X factor just because there are the concerns there with the penalties and with some of the lighting up plays. But I do think Marcus Jones fits in there really nicely because, like I say, too, he's very versatile. He can play the nickel very well. And, he can match up with this wide receiver in the slot. He can find a tight end out in coverage to where I really think he could be that guy that makes a key third down stop or has his Stephon Gilmore moment. For those of you not know what I'm referencing, AFC Championship game 2017, Jacksonville, Stephon Gilmore, hand out, swats the ball down, Patriots go to the Super Bowl. So I can see a moment like that happening this Sunday night. Also, I will say this because McGarvin and I have talked about this as well, and I know you're going to be up a lot later than us, but it'll be worth it to be tired Monday morning if they do get the win in this one.
Mine is going to be Caleb on Chason. And that is simply because I think if you can get to Herbert in this game, you're going to change the complete outcome of this game. If you give Herbert time, he has the receivers, he can find a guy to go do. If you can get to him fast, I don't think he'll have the ability to think fast, be able to make those plays.
Yeah.
So I think if you're the defensive line, if you're linebacker, anything like that, you're looking, how can I get to Herbert the fastest?
Before I give my offensive one, I want to just go into detail on why I do think New England wins too, just because at the end of the day, I'm going to give Drake Maye more trust to lead them down the field than Justin Herbert, just with the hand injury, with the defensive line issues. And with the Patriots with a healthy defense too, I know Tonga's still not 100% for this one. I'm not sure if he's playing.
He's not tracking to play. He has not practiced this week. But I will say
Bobby
Chargers
Spillane
also could be with Spillane will likely play. He's been practicing. He could be on a snap count, but he'll likely play. But it is worth noting that the Chargers have not had Hampton practice once this week. Just something to keep an eye on.
I'm going to reference my phone just because, like I say, I've been talking to the man who's not been here himself, and him and I are also starting to think alike, but there's something else. I said no Hampton. I said no Hampton for LA is big. He's like, he basically said he's not out, and I just said he's not practicing today, and he said that's my biggest concern for our defense. So if Hampton doesn't go for this one, unless Christian Gonzalez has his Mitchell Tinsley moment, I think we'll be fine. Offensively, I want to go Kayshon Boutte. I really like I read that Players Tribune piece last night. I thought it was very well written.
Amazing. I give him a lot of credit for opening up about that stuff too. It's not an easy topic. I told him so today. I thought credit to Kayshon Boutte 110%.
You could say Griff did too, and he's going to go who? But no, like when I look at him, I just look at some of the passes. Like one of my favorites is just the over the shoulder fade from Drake against Cleveland. That's one of my favorite catches of the year. Apart from the Diggs one, I want to say tight end play just because look, Hunter Henry is Drake Maye's best friend. And one other point I want to make on tight end quickly, I don't think that's a free agency thing. I think that's a draft thing. There's a couple guys. There's a couple kids from Georgia. Oscar Delp is one of them. Lawson Lucky or Lucky Lawson, I forget, mixing up his name. It's also a very heart-wrenching story of his brother just basically is one of those conditions where he like never fully developed and stuff like that. And he stayed close to Georgia to take care of his brother. Basically, it's a story where ESPN will do on College Game Day where it's like a bunch of fun. And then, hey, here's a very sad story. It's kind of like on draft night where it's like happiest moment of the life. Now here's a story about his dad who was shot and killed when he was 5. You know, it's like how ESPN pulls your heartstrings that way. But ultimately for this game, I'm going to go Kayshon just because, you know, he can get downfield. Figure that.
He's also been quiet. I mean, he's had that concussion now, and then he was very quiet last game. It's his turn.
Yeah. Another guy too. I want to see how Efton Chisholm is used in this one because he started to come alive the last couple weeks. Although I do think he's going to be more special teams than receiver. I think this week it's going to be, hey, you know, let your big dogs eat. That's what I really think does happen with this one. Like, you know, let the big dogs eat.
Imagine how funny like an Efton Chisholm playoff touchdown would be. Like that would be like, I can't stop smiling thinking about that.
Oh, I mean, Chris Hogan in the AFC Championship game against Kansas City.
Yeah. Just those like the smaller known guys that just, and also Efton Chisholm's just a fan favorite. People love that kid.
Yeah. I still like, so before the Jets game, McGarvin and I were trying to figure out like, what's Efton Chisholm? I was like 2 catches for 15 yards. He's like, we think alike. And I'm like, that's why we're friends. I know I would like Matt Collins too. I believe his earliest return date would be the AFC Championship game. If I'm not mistaken.
When he can return. Yes, because it is the AFC Championship is the earliest he can return.
Do we know the severity of that injury, or was it just enough to where they said, hey, he's going on IR?
Not much. I mean, he's been around the facility. He was with the guys today in the locker room, all that. Like, he's still been around. He's just, so my guess is that it's kind of like a Will Campbell where possibly it was to save him from himself. Where it was like, he maybe could have played, but he would have made it worse. And they don't want that.
If you see Will Campbell, can you ask him where he got that shirt, the I Heart Drake Maye shirt? Like, was that from Ann Michael or where, like that I Heart Drake Maye shirt?
I think he said, like, didn't he say Ann Michael got it for him? I think that was like the whole, I'll ask.
Yeah. It's just like, I was wondering, I'm like, where can we buy that shirt? Like, I need that shirt. Because also, too, I have decided on this. I think my next jersey I buy is, I think I'm going to get him, but the Rivals one, though.
Oh, nice. I think that account, Drake Maye Lovers, don't they sell the I Heart Drake Maye shirts? I think that's the whole.
I gotta look at that one. I love that account.
It's so fun.
Yeah,
big fan. We're big fans over here.
Our quarterback is awesome. I will watch that video of McGarvin saying that like it's like last year where he's just like, our quarterback is awesome. Where I'm like, yes, he is. I also feel more of a connection to Drake just because he feels more personal. But I will say this though, if he does discover a mean gear in him, I think the league's fucked. I'm sorry, the league's fucked. If he's like,
I need a little like, you know, we need to see a little bit of that Southern boy just. Especially playoffs, like regular season, all that. Like we want that Southern boy. Like that's the guy that New England loves. That being said, this month stretch, you can get a little mean.
Yeah, get a little mean for the month of January, buddy. The other game too, like that makes me think that he can go out there and win this game for the team. Is games like the Falcons one, you know, where it was a close game. All you have to do is get a first down. Mm-hmm. He found a way because. We all know the Chargers passing defense is one of the best in the NFL.
Yes.
Derwin James is one of the best defensive backs in the league. So as long as Drake is, and I also like trust Drake to make, I know he's had some wonky interceptions this year, but I trust him in the big moments to, you know, make the plays when he has to make the play. So that's why I do think it's a close one. It's going to be a bit of a, you know, boom, 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 boom. But I do think New England does come out on top of this one. Monday night, there are so many people discounting. Well, actually, before we get to Monday night, I have a question for you just because I'm on the Taylor Swift subject. Do you think her fiance, do you think that's it? The soft nods just say it all. Only thing I'll say about that is like watching the game against Houston where I'm like, yeah, he's just not. I'm just like, I just don't want to see it. I'm like, some people out there, I'm just like, it's the whole can't teach an old dog new tricks. Just it's time.
I think it's also, I don't think it's like, I also think part of it that's going to factor in is that like Mahomes likely won't be playing the first few games of the season if you're looking at it, unless he has like the Stephon Diggs recovery. But like he was injured. I mean, what week was he injured? Was it 9?
No, it was like a month ago.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was later.
Yeah, it was the Charger game about a month ago that he got hurt. And then he had surgery the next day, which, fun fact, his surgery was done by the same doc. You know when you watch a Dallas Cowboys game and you see the doctor with the cowboy hat?
Yeah.
That's the doctor who did Mahomes' knee.
Well, so I think like knowing Mahomes, he probably will have a Stephon Diggs-like recovery very quick. But I think that still you're looking at maybe him coming back by week 1, if that. You're not going to see him at training camp. You're not going to, and if anything, they'll start him on IR. He'll be back week 5. I don't think Travis is going to go through that of having to deal with another quarterback for 5 weeks and then coming, and having Mahomes back. I think like just, end it now, let the new era start.
Did you know? So I'm going to say, let me see here. So for Monday Night Football, and I disagree with Travis. I also think too, it's just like one of those things where apart from it being time, there's other avenues with him getting married, like with the podcast. I just think, you know what? Hey, he'll be fine.
He's also going to be amazing on television. He's going to have the Jason Kelsey. He'll get a bigger deal than that, and I think he'll take it. I definitely see him going, because I don't see him stepping away from football. He loves this game so much. But I think putting him on imagine him on Monday Night Countdown with Jason, like that would be so fun. I would die. That would make me so happy. I love the two of them together.
Walt Disney Corporation has the money to give for him.
I know.
Monday Night Football, Steelers Texans. I have one stat for you to why I think this team's going to win.
Steelers.
Do you know the Steelers are 11-1 at home on Monday Night Football under Mike Tomlin?
I did not know that, but I also believe in the Steelers just because, as much as I have my opinions about Aaron Rodgers and whether it's
like Josh Allen
still be playing or not, I agree. It's like, watching that game against the Ravens. He's on his way home, so I'll talk about it now before he gets upset. If Sam comes in and hears me talking about the Steelers Ravens game. But watching that that fourth quarter, it was just like Aaron Rodgers, man. Like, this is why you don't bet against a quarterback like that. And I have my opinions, like I said, but
he's immunized. The big thing with that too is just the fact that, like I said, but apart from that, it's just something about. I know Houston's got an awesome defense. I have really bad trust issues with CJ Stroud. We don't.
Their offense has not been all that this year. What the scariest part of their game is the defense. Defensively, if they can hold, if it becomes a defensive battle.
Houston will win.
Yes, if it's defensive battle, but I think that it's still going to be a defensive battle. But I do think that Rodgers is going to have. And you have DK back.
As long as he's not assaulting fans, but just my thing with this game is just simple. It's the fact that, you have a Pittsburgh team with a quarterback who he's going to want to show the world that he still's got it. I don't know if he's their quarterback next year. He's going to want to show everyone, hey, I still got it, because everyone's going to think Houston's going to go in there. Houston's going to run roughshod. Mm-hmm. I think the Steelers find a way. I don't think they go far. I think they get the one playoff win, because also it will save Mike Tomlin's job as well, where it kind of restores faith.
That is the other coach, by the way, on my radar.
I think, though, if he were to get let go, I don't know if he takes a coaching job right away. A lot of people are starting to say that, hey, there's television networks calling, because Mike Tomlin's another guy who'd be awesome on TV.
Oh, his comments, man.
Just some I don't know, give him to Fox or Terry Bradshaw, and you're just going to get some outlandish TV.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah. The only two teams we didn't get to talk about were the Seahawks and the Broncos, and I will say this, I believe more in the Seahawks than I believe in the Broncos. Just with the Broncos, I know everyone wants to say, oh, they're the ones who did this and that. I'm sorry, but the same teams that the Patriots were giving belt to ass to, you had the dogfight with to win, like the Jets, like the Giants. I know the Patriots lost to the Raiders, but that's week 1. Week 1, you don't know what teams are.
I also think Bo Nix hasn't been super like
They're Houston.
What I'm looking for.
They're Houston. The defense is awesome, but he's been really inconsistent.
Thank you, inconsistent. Oh my God, that was killing me. Inconsistent.
We're gonna wrap this up before her brain shuts down.
I think it has. It's been shut. She's been shut and gone. We're running on fumes.
Yes. But no, that's just the thing with Bo Nix, where I'm just like, everyone's saying, oh, Denver's such a tough place to play. And I know everyone's like saying to the parallels to the 2015 team. The 2015 Denver Broncos had one of the best defenses of all time. A team that was a team that made me hate the Denver Broncos, by the way. Like watching like how Derek Wolfe and Von Miller just have their way with Tom Brady in that game. And then the fact that, Manning was carried to a Super Bowl. I just don't think the defense is like, the defense has what it takes in Denver. It's just the fact, you let Chris Olajuwon have almost beat you guys. You had to fight against the Justin Fields Jets. You had to fight against Jackson Dart's good, but like I say too, and I don't like everyone to say Drake the schedule May. What did Drake do against the Jets? He beat him 42-10 and 27-13. He manhandled the Giants on Monday Night Football.
3 quarters.
Yeah.
He was out.
One of my favorite tweets from that game still is when Josh Dobbs came in and they ran that tight end screen, and McGarvin's just like, tight end, 23-yard tight end screen, fold the organization, Jets. And he literally tags the New York Jets.
McGarvin's in-game tweets kill me. Honestly, if you're not following him, you're missing out. Because like McGarvin will have he'll have like some really in-depth like football take, that like you're like, damn, this guy knows ball. And then all of a sudden you have like a wild like just comment that he comes out of left field with, and you're like, whoa, that was awesome.
Literally, like he retweeted. So like, here's 2 things with this football season. Well, 2 of them involve you, because me tweeting, of course, you got 300 during Bakemas. And then the one I did when he baked, he not only made a bake during Bakemas, where you're like that. I'm like, sometimes I don't want to message you on Sundays, because I'm just like, I'm going to let Sophie do her thing. She's a busy girl. But with him, though, I tweeted something during a Bills game where I basically made fun of Deion Dawkins when he got the false start against Houston, and McGarvin tweeted it. And I'm like, that's like a sense of pride, because he has a lot of bangers. And I guess I have when he retweets something, I'm like, okay, he thought it was a banger. I'm like, I feel accomplished. But that's pretty much it. We're in store for a great weekend of wild card football. By the way, there's only one tight end free agent that I would like for the Patriots to get, no pun intended, but I don't know what the cost would be. Well, Isaiah Likely.
I got it. Well, I wrote a story on that recently, so I went and hit. That is also the one when you were saying in the draft. I agree, unless you can get Likely for a decent price, because I think that he's a young, talented tight end that could really match up well with Drake.
I just think that there's enough tight end depth throughout day 2 and day 3 that they can find someone. If everyone's saying, oh, why do that? Look how many good tight ends have come out of day 2 and day 3.
No, I don't disagree.
Tight end like George Kittle, Travis Kelce, Rob Gronkowski. List goes on and on of guys who are round 2. Like people ask about Travis Kelce, why wasn't he a first round pick? And I'm like, that's why I hate redrafts when people go now. Yeah. It's like, oh, this. I'm like, you're basing their draft on what they did in the NFL, when the drafts are based on what they did in college and what their potential to be in the NFL is. The only other Patriot thing I've seen is Tyler Linderbaum, but I would like people going out there and getting him. But I'm sorry, I'm fine keeping Garrett Bradbury at center and having Jared Wilson play left guard.
The only thing that scares me is Garrett Bradbury did get the good guy award, and there's been a little bit of a curse with that. But I like him, and I like developing Jared Wilson or finding another free agent when the time comes. I'm with you there, where I think that they have something good. Why mess with that?
Exactly. Like for now, you can keep it as is, because if you can keep the same offensive line, that just is so much better for Drake. Because even someone like Michael One, who's been kind of up and down, but been playing really well. I also too will say this: you bring back Vidarian Lowe on a cheap contract as well. He earned.
Keep Vidarian.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about that.
Your swing tackle, like I said after the Giants game, him as a swing left tackle, he's your second depth guy. Perfectly fine. Same thing with Ben Brown. It's fine. Even who's the one guy? Who are the one guy getting into it with was it the Jets or the Dolphins? Was it Ponder or was it someone else? Oh, was it Corey Durden? Who was getting into it?
No, wasn't it? No, it was Barmore. Barmore was the one who got into it with Membu.
Yes, that's it. Barmore was there, but then there was someone else getting chippy one of the games. I don't know. I know we didn't really touch on that either, but I'm waiting for more stuff to come out about both. The only thing I'll say of one of those is just if it's one allegation is true, I just don't want him on the team anymore, because I think if the Barmore stuff is 100, the Barmore stuff did happen. For as great as he is, that's just such a bad red flag. And then I just want to comment on that right now. It's a happy podcast. It's a fun show. We'll cross those bridges when we get there. That's why we have 7 months of the off season. Yes, manifesting. It's called manifesting. 416 of these bad boys. This is also the season premiere for season 7. This podcast is in its 6th year. I can't believe it. 416 of these bad boys down. I'm going to let Sophie go before her brain completely turns to more mush than it already is. Cause I can just tell by the facial expressions and how she's going. I'm just like, this girl needs to sleep. This girl needs.
It's still not going to happen, but I know.
It. I know. I'm just saying, you know, I'm being a courteous Canadian to my Boston counterpart here.
I appreciate that.
No problem. It's all good. Patriots fans, enjoy playoff football this week. Hopefully in 72 hours from now, we're having a good time. But if you're not, just be thankful for the ride that was this year. But we'll be back next week. Hopefully McGarvin's back next week. We'll have to figure out Sophie's schedule, but we'll go from there. 416 in the bag. Have a great night, everybody.
Sophie doesn't know Sophie's schedule.
Don't we love a good third-person chat? Have a great night, everybody.